This all started a few weeks ago. I was walking down my hallway late at night, heading for a midnight snack. I passed the long mirror on the wall, and something just felt off. It was one of those feelings you can't quite place, like a static shock in the air. I stopped and turned back. My reflection seemed to move just a fraction of a second too late, like a bad internet connection. I told myself I was just tired, that my eyes were playing tricks on me. The house was dead silent, which only made the feeling more intense. I decided to test it. I slowly, deliberately, lifted my hand to wave at myself. My reflection copied the movement, but there it was again, that tiny, almost imperceptible delay. A cold wave washed over me, starting in my chest and spreading out to my fingertips. My heart started pounding. I stepped closer to the mirror, my breath fogging the cold glass. Nothing happened. It just looked like me staring back. I brushed it off, chalked it up to exhaustion, and went to bed. The next morning, I couldn't shake the feeling. I stood in front of the mirror again, pretending to fix my hair. I watched my hands in the reflection. As I raised my hand to my head, the hand in the mirror hesitated for a split second before following, and then it smiled. It was a faint, almost unnoticeable smirk at the corner of its mouth. But it wasn't my smile. I wasn't smiling. My blood ran cold. The feeling of being watched was suddenly overwhelming, even though I was completely alone in my own home. It felt like the mirror itself was observing me, studying my every move. That's when I knew I wasn't imagining things. I pulled out my phone and started recording. I made a few simple movements, nodding, turning my head, blinking. I played the video back. Frame by frame, my heart stopped. In the recording, my reflection blinked at a completely different time than I did. When I turned my head to the left, its head turned just a little too far, at an angle that looked unnatural, almost painful. I paused the video, staring at the frozen frame on my screen. The face staring back at me looked inhuman. Its eyes were just a little too wide, its expression a little too blank. From then on, things got weirder. I started noticing small inconsistencies. An object in the reflection would move before I even touched it. I'd reach for a mug on the counter, and its reflection would already be shifting on the mirrored surface. Shadows would flicker and dance in the mirror that had no source in the real room. It was terrifying. I started avoiding that hallway altogether during the day, but at night, the mirror felt alive. It felt like it was waiting for me. One evening, my curiosity got the better of my fear. I placed a small digital tape recorder on the floor right in front of the mirror. I pressed record, and then I just left. I couldn't stay in the house that night. I went for a long drive, grabbed a late dinner, and didn't come back until the sun was up. My hands were shaking as I picked up the recorder. I rewound it and hit play. For hours, there was nothing but the faint hum of the refrigerator. Then, at exactly 3:54 a.m., a sound. It was a whisper, raspy and low. A single, chilling phrase, "It's ready." I felt sick to my stomach. What was ready? And who, or what, had said it? I had to know what was happening. I set up my phone on a tripod, this time using a motion-activated camera app aimed directly at the mirror. I left the house again, this time staying at a 24-hour diner, nursing a coffee for hours. When I got home, the app had recorded several clips. I watched the first one. The surface of the mirror, it rippled, like water. In the next clip, a silhouette began to push against the glass from the inside. It looked like a person trapped behind a sheet. The shape was mine, but the posture was all wrong, hunched and contorted. It was pushing, struggling to get out. That was it. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed the nearest thing I could find, a heavy bath towel, and threw it over the mirror, my hands trembling so hard I could barely hold on. I called the police. I know how it sounds, but I was desperate. They came, they checked the apartment, they looked at me like I was crazy. They found nothing. No signs of a break-in, nothing out of place. They took my recordings as evidence, but I could tell they didn't believe me. I couldn't stay there another night. I called a friend and crashed on his couch. I finally felt a little bit of relief, being away from that house. That is, until my phone buzzed late that night. It was a picture message from my friend. He'd taken a photo of my apartment building from his car when he drove by earlier. He'd zoomed in on my window. And there, peeking from behind the curtain, was a pale face. Its smile was stretched impossibly wide, a grotesque grin that didn't belong on a human face. I moved out the very next day. I didn't even pack properly, just threw my essentials into boxes and got out. I left the mirror. As I was leaving, the landlord stopped me. He looked at me with pity and said, "I was hoping it wouldn't happen again. That mirror, it has a history." He didn't need to explain. I just wanted to be gone. I avoided looking at any reflective surfaces for weeks: car windows, shop fronts, even puddles on the street. I was paranoid, but I finally started to feel safe again. The constant feeling of being watched had finally faded. Last night, for the first time in a long time, I felt normal. I was brushing my teeth in my new bathroom, humming to myself. My guard was down. I glanced down at the polished floor tiles. For just a second, I saw a faint reflection. It wasn't me. It was that face, that same wide, terrible smile looking right back up at me. I stumbled back, my heart pounding in my ears. At that exact moment, my phone buzzed on the counter. A new text message from an unknown number. I picked it up with a shaking hand. The message had only 6 words: "You left the door open." And in that moment, I understood. The mirror wasn't the problem. It wasn't the house. It had followed me, and I had let it in.